Hello. So I have had many people ask me how I met Sylvester Stallone because it has been such a long journey. 13 years of effort, of consistent effort trying to meet the man who inspired me so much and just changed my life so much. It's really a story of miracles, and so many things happened that were out of my hands. Just miracle upon miracle. It was also my determination and just I wasn't willing to give up on something that I wanted so badly. So, backstory. I haven't really put the full story out there of why I love Sylvester Stallone, but we'll just say that he has impacted my life in a way that I can't even explain. He has just been very influential. And so I made it a goal 13 years ago to meet Sylvester Stallone. I have done some pretty weird things to try and meet him. And I remember when I was 12, I was writing him fan mail left and right, and I never got any response. And then I got an email from this person saying that they were Sylvester Stallone and asking for my address so that they could send me a signed picture. And I gave this person my address, and I tell my stepdad, like, oh my gosh, like Sylvester Stallone emailed me. And he's like, that's not Sylvester Stallone, you idiot. He didn't call me an idiot, but like, I was just dumb. So it was obviously like a predator. Like, I don't know who it was, but thank goodness something happened to me. Anyways, I've made plenty of trips out to California. I know where he lives. I know there's lots of different places that he's lived. I've gone to all of them, and I've never met him. I've gone to the gym where he works out at, one of the gyms. I've gone to places where he's known to go eat at. I've never met him. And every time that I've gone on one of those trips, I've had a thought of, well, maybe I'll meet him this time. Maybe I'll meet him finally. And then it never happened. Another thing I have done is I've consistently posted pictures replicating things from the Rocky movies or just something to try and get Sylvester Stallone's attention, but it never worked. And you know what? Along this whole time, I've had people telling me left and right, just, you're crazy, like, forget about it. It's impossible. You're never going to meet him. I've never once listened to those people. I've never once. Anytime somebody says something like that to me, I'm like, you obviously don't know me because I'm going to make this happen. Somehow I'm going to make this happen because it's a goal and I need to meet my hero. So by posting pictures on Instagram, I never got Sylvester Stallone's attention, but what did happen was I slowly started gathering a following of Sylvester Stallone fans, people who know where he lives, people who know which gym he worked out. That's how I got all this information, was from people messaging me, letting me know, this is where he does this is where he does this, you should go check this out. And so I always go, and sorry to some of my friends who have jagged along with me when we go on California trips. I've also gone by myself though. So then nothing was happening. I was getting all this intel, I was checking out all this stuff, and I still hadn't met him. So then I decided one day for my birthday, I wanted to go to Philadelphia. I had always wanted to go to Philadelphia to go just see all the Rocky sites, but my mom had never let me go because Philly's kind of a sketchy place to go by yourself, as a woman especially, and I didn't care. So my dad actually bought me a ticket to Philly for my birthday, and so I went to Philly, not knowing what I was getting myself into. I went to Philly, and one of my best friends from middle school is living there now. She's in nursing school at Thomas Jefferson University, so it was really fun to see her too. And I went, and I walked every place that Rocky was filmed, every place that he ran, every place he was, I walked. I walked over 50 miles. And so it was like day 3 that I was there in Philly, just living it up. I had no idea what was about to happen. So I was walking everywhere and I was refusing to take any Ubers. But I needed to get to another place from where I was at. I was at the zoo and I needed to go way across town. It was going to be like 11 miles. I was like, you know what? It's really, really cold. It's starting to snow. I am going to get an Uber. So I got an Uber. And I'm telling this guy, the driver, like, why I'm in Philly, because everyone there could tell I wasn't from Philadelphia because I was tan and I just didn't look like a Philadelphian. They could all tell I was from California. Actually, it was really funny. And so I'm like, I'm here because I'm here to see Rocky sites. I'm Sylvester Stallone's biggest fan. I'm just so excited. And if you know me, I'm just excited by nature, but especially you put me in a Rocky area. Oh, you don't even understand the level of excitement. And so this guy happens to be like, you're kidding. I just dropped somebody off on the set of Creed 2. I had no idea they had already started some of the filming. They were only filming a couple scenes at this time. It was mainly before Stallone and Michael B. Jordan got there. So it was Dolph Lundgren and the guy playing Drago's son. His name's Florian. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's really, really nice and he's really, really handsome. Anyways, so I like, this guy was awesome. I like start crying, obviously, because I'm like, what? And so then he turns off, if you're in an Uber, they have to take you to the destination that you put in. He just turns off the app and he's like, I'm going to take you there for free. So he drives me over there. Of course, it's in a super sketchy place of Philly. I have a cop pull me over and he's like, hey, it's not safe for you to be here, which was pretty much everywhere that Rocky was filmed was not safe for me to be there. Didn't care. I went anyways, and thankfully I'm fine. But I wouldn't recommend anybody else doing that. Anyways, I go and I get to see, them filming this training scene, the Dragos, and then I post a picture of it. And again, through Instagram, Mike Kunda, he is the official Rocky personator of Philadelphia. He sees it and he does the Rocky tour in Philadelphia. So he needed to know where that location was so that he could add it to the Rocky tour. Anyways, Mike and I end up becoming friends and he's like, listen, so Stallone is going to be here on these days filming. And I'm already back in Utah at this point. But you bet your bottom dollar I book a ticket right away back to Philly for some of the time that Stallone was going to be filming. So then, fast forward a few months, I am getting ready for my trip. I was going to leave on a Wednesday. I get a message on Instagram on a Sunday, the Sunday before I'm about to leave, that Creed 2 is looking for extras still for that Tuesday. So I was still going to be in Utah. But I was like, oh my gosh. And I wasn't sure if this guy was legit. I couldn't find any information on it online. So he could have totally been like catfishing me. It could have just been so bad. His name is Alsonic. But I call my mom and I'm like, what do I do? I've already paid $400 for my ticket to go out on Wednesday, but I really want to be an extra in Creed 2. What do I do? This could be my last opportunity, not just to be in a Stallone movie, but to be in a Rocky movie. Like, what are the odds that the movie came out in 1976, the original? Here we are 42 years later, and I still get an opportunity to be in one of his movies, a Rocky movie. So, I didn't even care about that $400. Lost that, bought a new ticket, got there, ended up for real getting to be an extra on Creed 2. And that was the first day that I was there. So that was the Tuesday. So then you bet your booty I made friends with anyone I could. I talked to anyone and everyone who was working on the movie. So the next day I get intel of where he's going to be filming. I didn't know where he'd be filming on Wednesday. I only knew about Thursday. But I go to the place. They're filming at Front Street Gym on the Wednesday. And of course, that's in a very not safe part of Philly for me. But I went and I stood out there in the rain all day and I waited and I saw him. And he came and that was the first day we had some interaction. But that day was vital to my success in meeting Sylvester Stallone. That day, I became friends with everyone who was on set that I could. I told my story to anyone and everyone that I could find, and I told them I came from California to meet him. And I became friends with a bunch of the Philadelphians. They are seriously city of brotherly love. Yeah, Philadelphians are amazing. If you're nice to them, they will treat you so well, and they will take care of you. And I needed them to take care of me because I was in kind of a scary part of town, and they really did. They were really protective, and it was really, really sweet. Anyways, I got my story around. And I happened to be wearing a pink sweatshirt that day under my Rocky shirt. So then, yeah, Stallone and I have some interaction. And I remember calling two of my best friends that night, Nicole and Cassie. And I was like, guys, I don't know how, but I am dead certain that I'm meeting him this time. Every other time I had gone to try and meet him, I just was kind of like, well, maybe I'll meet him. But this time I was like, no, it's going to happen. And I think that because I had already decided that it was going to happen, I was way more tenacious about it. I went after it in a different way than I had ever done before, and I just did whatever I had to do to make it happen. So the next day, the Thursday, he's filming at Adrian's restaurant, and I go there, and again, it's cold, and it's rainy, and I'm just standing outside, and my hair is just, like, ginormous, but I'm like, I'm gonna meet Sylvester Stallone. Like, I was stoked. I knew it was gonna happen. And so I get to the set, and everyone who's already there, they're like, hey, California's here. Like, it was so sweet because I had made all these friends on set. Like, with the security guys, just random people working on the movie. It was just, they were awesome. And so I go into this cafe that's across the street from Adrian's because Stallone hadn't arrived yet. And I'm in there and I'm ordering, and this lady is like, "Hey, aren't you the girl that came from California to try and meet Stallone?" And I'm like, "Yes, that is me." So I have no idea who this woman is. I have no idea that she would be such a help to me. But I tell her my story, and she's with a bunch of the guys that work on the movie too. I tell her my story of why I love Sylvester Stallone so much, and she was just like, "Okay, I'm going to do what I have to help make this happen for you." And I'm just like, no way is it actually going to happen. But thanks for saying that. A few hours later, I see her walking around with Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, holy smokes, this lady actually has some influence. So he comes outside. There's all these Philadelphians lined up. Everyone's just there watching them filming the movie, and everyone's being loud and obnoxious. And I'm just like, I was too emotional that I was finally seeing my hero in real life. I couldn't be loud. I didn't want to be loud. I was very reverent. It was a very, very reverent time for me, kind of. Anyway, so then I see her walking around with him, and one of the guys I had become friends with the day before ended up being head of security for the movie, and he knew my story. So both of them come up to me, and amongst all these screaming fans, they're like, "Listen, we're gonna make this happen for you, but you better not be like these other people." And I'm like, oh, I couldn't scream if I wanted to because I am too emotional right now, and you're just like, ah. So then Stallone leaves for lunch, and I'm like, great, I guess I'm not going to meet him today. But then he comes back, and he comes. At one point, they were filming inside, so we're all just waiting outside, not knowing what's going on in the filming. So then he finally comes outside, and he starts walking towards us, and the security guard just built this barrier around him. And that head of security guard grabs me, pulls me from through the crowd, and he tells Stallone, "Hey, you need to take a picture with her." So Stallone, Sly, and Stallone, whatever, I call him Sly, we exchanged some words, and I can't remember what they were, but that's when I got my picture. And there are so many little miracles that happened that, for the sake of time, I'm not going to say, and for the sake of it being a really, really sacred experience, honestly. But I had a lot of people asking me what the first thing I did after was. And before I even could cry because I was so happy, the first thing I did was I said a prayer in my head, just thanking God, because I know that if anything has ever been a testament to me that God knows each of us individually and cares about us individually, it was this experience, because there were so many things that happened. Oh, Southpaw. Rocky. So many things that happened that no matter how much I had done, that wasn't in my hands. Like, I did everything that I could, but there was extra that needed to be done that I couldn't do. And I know that God made that happen. And I know that if you decide you want something, if you want it, just decide and then go after it. Do everything you have to do to make it happen. I've never wanted something as badly as I wanted this. And it took 13 years, but not for a second did I ever doubt that it was going to happen. And it finally happened. And I'm just so grateful to God for everything that He did to help make it happen. And, if you don't believe in God, whatever, the universe, whatever you believe in, if you are doing everything that you can to make your dream come true, it can happen. And there's more that happened after I got my picture with him. A lot more happened after that, actually. But that was pretty much the gist of it. And it was just May 17th, 2018, the best day of my life, the day my dream finally came true. And Stallone, if you somehow see this, a ticket to the Creed 2 premiere would be amazing. I mean, I have traveled a lot to see you. Anyways, thank you guys. If you've listened to this whole video, you're great. And if you've got a dream, fight to make it happen, because it can happen.